Well, everyone, this is it. Thanks, Parry. That's a really, really great start to the final episode. Way to interrupt a dramatic moment, and we've run into a wild Pokemon. It's not starting well. It's Doduo. I didn't run across this because I was here at night last time. Well, we're not exactly off to a bad start, it's just not the start I expected. Oh, and it's got paralysis. That's mean. Well, so much for drama. Anyway, obviously I'm going to have to go and heal Sunny. But yes, the idea was that we would go and battle Red at the top of Mount Silver to wrap up the regular adventure. I think there will be some bonus episodes where I try and show off a completed Pokédex and track down, or at least as close to completion as I can, showing some Pokemon we've missed with the help of Masashi, and we will track down Suicune. We have caught Doduo, the twin bird Pokemon. By alternately raising and lowering its two heads, it balances itself to be more stable while running. Blah. Tripping over my tongue, but a good addition to the Pokédex nonetheless. Let's go and get healed. I will also do a bit of a tour to show everything we've missed in terms of items. I haven't been through Mount Silver, so I will have to go and do that. Now, there are certain Pokemon I can't get in Gold version, so while I will try and complete the Pokédex to the best of my ability, it will be a bit difficult. But we've probably caught a lot of the Pokemon we can run across. Most of them will be evolutions, and we will have significant problems owing to the fact we can't get very many stones. And what's this? It's another Doduo. So we've started off a little bit awkwardly, but now the time has come. The team is ready. We venture into the heart of Mount Silver to reach the summit and battle Red. Been a long time coming. It was about 19 episodes ago that we were battling the Elite Four. There wasn't that much to do in Kanto, unfortunately. So we did breeze through that, but I lost about 3 episodes worth because of that crash. It's been an incredible journey. It's been fantastic putting all this together, going through an adventure of Pokemon as it was when I was growing up. And it's been a lot of fun sharing it with all of you. We've had some highs, we've had some lows. Mostly the lows have come due to technology or just incredibly bad luck trying to catch Pokemon, but it has nonetheless been a very entertaining journey. We've met some interesting Pokemon along the way, and some not so spectacular ones. We've battled a whole variety of trainers, met some who were very important to me, and some who aren't that special at all. We've been all around 2 regions, and it was a genuine delight to do it again, 10 years on, with better graphics, better moves, and general improvements all round. But nonetheless, this has been something special. I'm very glad I've been able to share this with all of you as a major project. Before we go in, I'm going to put up a spotlight on Red and his teams as they appear in Gold and Silver and Heart Gold Soul Silver. So, let's get the inside info on the young man we're battling. If there is one person Pokemon fans can agree deserves the title of Pokemon Master, it's Red, the hero of the original games. Red's achievements, training skills, and status within the series have all become legendary. He's the toughest trainer going around in the Johto games, and reappears in the Alola games alongside Blue, still as strong as ever. In the original Gold and Silver, Red's team is pretty good in terms of levels, but doesn't have a great range of moves. Interestingly, his Pikachu knows Charm, which implies it has evolved from a Pichu, since Pikachu doesn't learn that naturally. Thunderbolt and Thunder are particularly reliable moves. Espeon is going to do the most damage using Psychic, but otherwise its moves aren't very impressive. Snorlax is fairly well built to handle most special threats, but will struggle against physical opponents with high defense. Venusaur dishes out some pretty good damage, but suffers from all the problems grass types tend to have, namely a lot of types resisting its moves, and it can shoot itself in the foot by using Sunny Day. This can benefit Charizard though, which actually does have a pretty good move pool available to it, with the exception of Fire Spin. Blastoise is probably the best in terms of moves, packing Blizzard, Surf and Rain Dance to boost it, but that can leave it vulnerable to a well-placed Thunder. Things of course get a lot better for Red in the remakes. His team is considerably stronger in terms of levels, and also possesses far better coverage. Pikachu packs the incredibly strong Volt Tackle, again implying it's evolved from a Pichu, and adds Iron Tail, much like Pikachu in the anime. Espeon has been replaced with Lapras, which takes advantage of the hail atop Mount Silver to dish out dangerous blizzards. It also has Brine to finish off opponents and Psychic just in case. Snorlax has changed a bit, it can't make the most out of Blizzard and Shadow Ball due to its special attack not being great, but Crunch and Giga Impact will catch opponents off guard. Venusaur has better moves and can actually use Sleep Powder, but of course it will suffer from some of the problems Grass Poison types have. This was just an unfortunate fact of life for Venusaur, but nonetheless it shouldn't be underestimated. Frenzy Plant will hit particularly hard, much as Charizard's Blast Burn will. It also packs Flare Blitz, Air Slash and Dragon Pulse for some devastating coverage, while Blastoise also packs a bit of extra coverage with Hydro Cannon, Focus Blast and Blizzard. Red's team is not to be underestimated no matter when you face him. It will always be a tough challenge. If you paid attention to your type matchups in the first encounter with him in Gold and Silver, you should be able to handle him pretty easily. In the remakes, you'll not only have to do that, but really prepare your team. Train hard, give it your best, and see if you can surpass yourself. Well, no need for words now. Let's wrap up the main arc. It's time. No need for words now. We will battle to determine who is the stronger of the two of us. As the Johto League champion, I accept your challenge. it's over. And I admit, in these games, it's a fairly comfortable win if you have a strong team and you can take advantage of types. But at the time, this was an incredible finale, essentially facing off against yourself from a previous game. It's a memorable battle, especially amongst the hail in the remakes. A fitting end to a fantastic game. One of my favourite games of all time, and where it all began as a Pokemon trainer for me. So it's fitting that we wrap things up at the top of Mount Silver, having beaten the strongest trainer in the game. Red will disappear, returning home. And the credits will once again roll. We too will return home. But I think it's time we have a little spotlight once again on my own team. We'll conclude things for the main adventure as a thank you to my loyal comrades across this journey, to everyone who's helped out along the way. And of course, I need to thank you as well. Everyone who's watched this, a small handful, or maybe somewhere in the future, a larger group of people. I'm very grateful you've tagged along for this adventure. It's been a wonderful experience all the way. A little bit difficult at times, especially when you consider how far Pokemon has evolved and developed as a series. The much better technology involved. Things are much more convenient. Much better moves are available to Pokemon. But nonetheless, you still have some good graphics, pretty nice soundtrack, and some memorable moments. These games are the foundations upon which a legendary franchise has been built. It has its ups and downs at times, but overall, I think things are still going pretty well for it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the upcoming Sword and Shield. As we cruise through the credits again, all I can say is thank you very much for joining me. It has been an absolute pleasure escorting you on this journey. And if you want to tag along for a couple of bonus episodes, I am always happy to have you around. I'll see you next time. But right now, let's take a look at those loyal team members who helped us out. First things first, on this little honour roll, I'll congratulate all the Pokemon which helped me out by using HM moves along the way. Seeking, Pidgeot, and Weepinbell. Even though I didn't use it in this continuity, Tentacruel did help out sometimes too. Though their roles were relatively small in the grand scheme of things, they nonetheless helped me to proceed at various points. You will probably be seeing a bit more of them along the way as I travel around searching for items and catching Pokemon. Their assistance cannot be underestimated. For his little cameo, I have to thank Masashi the Scyther as well. When I'm going around looking for Pokemon, Masashi's going to pop up once again. He'll be particularly helpful, so keep an eye out for him. He's taken the spot that King Zing had otherwise, so he'll be pretty dependable. And now, poor old Ruby and Leon, who didn't make it to the endgame because technology is a pain in the arse and doesn't do what it's meant to. They were incredibly handy allies right from the beginning. It took a hell of a long time for me to get Leon. Ruby was thankfully much easier to acquire. They were particularly useful, helping us out along the way by battling Morty and Chuck's gyms. They were very reliable allies all through the adventure, and while things were unfortunately cut short due to the issues with actually saving after I traded between the two Game Boys, they were nonetheless incredibly helpful. They put in a lot of work and were great support to the team. I can't thank them enough for what they've done, even though their contributions were very unfairly cut short. They're incredibly reliable, and if I'm playing better games later on, they might turn up in different forms, who knows? On we go for the regular team. Sunny, who struggled to hold down a spot but gradually came into her own as the game went on. While I wasn't sure if I'd be using her or Sunflora, I think I made the right choice in using Exeggutor for the first time. While better moves are available in later generations, and she always was lagging behind a little bit, Sunny nonetheless held her own and proved a particularly reliable ally. She had a fairly handy role taking up the Psychic-type spot left vacant by Leon, and proved herself very dependable with her Grass-type moves. She was invaluable in catching Pokemon, and she deserves plenty of thanks for that. All in all, a very handy team member with great utility and well worth using. While he initially arrived as a stand-in, Gibson more than held his own. His incredible physical bulk was what the team needed, and he could dish out some pretty powerful ground-type moves as well. He essentially took Ruby's role as the physical force of the team and did so admirably. His battle strategy was essentially point Earthquake at everything until it goes down, but then again that's pretty much all you need when you have such powerful moves. While Fury Cutter wasn't helpful most of the time, it did catch us a few Pokemon along the way, so it wasn't a bad choice. Overall, Gibson proved himself incredibly solid, and though called in from the bench, proved particularly handy. Very glad I had him along. Stepping up in Leon's role as a powerful special attacker was Polari. Though hindered by the fact his most powerful moves were fairly inaccurate, with a bit of tweaking to his moveset, Polari proved incredibly handy, combining Lock-On with the potent Zap Cannon and Thunder. Polari was also pretty helpful in catching Pokemon thanks to Sonic Boom, which hung around for a while, and he provided illumination when we needed it. His incredible defensive capacity thanks to his many resistances was also very welcome. Overall, Polari has served with distinction, and of course things only get better for him in later generations, when some pretty awesome moves become available. His help was absolutely vital at a number of times, and he was very handy at bringing down Misty. Definitely another wise choice. Polari's service is highly appreciated. Mersey was not just instrumental for crossing the seas and travelling to new places. She was a force to be reckoned with against Dragon-type Pokemon. The fairly versatile attacking combination of water and ice proved incredibly useful, and her Body Slam was pretty handy at times as well. Though she doesn't really excel at a lot of stats besides HP, she can take plenty of hits and will gradually chip away at opponents. She's been incredibly useful throughout the whole journey, and choosing to use Lapras was a fantastic idea. As the Pokemon perhaps best associated with Surf, she served her role as major transport with distinction. But if you need her on the field for battle, she is always going to be very handy. Mersey was a good choice, a very dependable ally, and supported everyone quite well. Though she took on some of the heaviest lifting, she never complained and did her job well. Always glad to have her aboard. And then there's Dash, the little guy that could. He might not have had the best stats on the team, but he sure had plenty of heart. He gave everything throughout the entire adventure, joining Torture early on, and sticking it to many powerful opponents, including flattening Miltank and doing a very good job against Sabrina's Pokemon. Farret has always been a favourite of mine, and it was definitely a good decision to bring him along. Dash pulled his weight and served with distinction. He was very handy for strength, and using Shadow Ball on him was a good move because it allowed him to take on some dangerous Ghost-type Pokemon and flatten a few Psychics along the way. He might have taken a few heavy hits, but he always performed his duty admirably. Once again, I cannot thank him enough for everything he's done, and I hope it's raised Farret a few notches in your esteem. And finally, the team captain. Torture was the one who kicked off the whole adventure. He's taken on all sorts of challenges, faced many dangerous opponents, and despite the hard work needed to get him to his final form, he's always come out on top. Though his moveset isn't always the greatest, Torture nonetheless pulls his weight even when things are getting particularly difficult. While there was a time when the odds were against him, he stood up, kept fighting, and was rewarded with the sheer power Typhlosion packs. He's been an incredible ally who's had some great field days and some tough encounters. He's gone through everything, and I'm very glad I had him accompanying me from the beginning of the journey. Just as glad as I have been whenever I've used Totodile. He's been a great leader for the team, and most likely a good mentor as well. I'm very glad I picked him, and I'm glad he could lead the team to victory on this occasion. I had hoped to have him knock out Red's last Pokemon, but he went with Venusaur, so Torture didn't quite get the last word in things. Would have been rather poetic if he had, but nonetheless, I don't think he minds. He's just happy to get the job done and have the team celebrate. Torture, as team captain, everyone salutes you. And then there's me. I'm just the idiot who put all this together. You don't need to worry about me too much, but as I've said, I'm very glad to have you along. It has been a real pleasure. I'll see you for my next project. Until then, be good to one another, stay safe, and have a good one.